Have you ever met someone and there's an instant connection and somehow you see your future together? And without putting it into words, you know he feels the same way. You're going to get married, you're going to have a family, you're going to have children. You just know that you're meant to be together for all eternity. You can't even think in terms of just your time on this planet. You're going to be forever. That happened to me. And we were only together a few months. And he took me aside one day. And he came and picked me up. Took me to the beach. He said, "We have to talk, Trudy. I'm going to die soon. And I'm going to tell you the story of your life and what's going to happen to you. And most of it you're not going to be able to avoid." And he spent that whole afternoon telling me the story of my life. And I'll be honest with you, all I could hear was that we're never going to get married, we're never going to have children, and that he was going to die soon. And he couldn't explain to me why. He said he'd had a vision, but that he would always be with me, and that we would always be together. That night, later, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call. It was from the police. They'd found his body 40 feet beyond. They found his severed head. He'd gone out on his motorcycle and been hit by a drunk driver who was never caught. Somebody saw it and reported it. The drunk driver had been driving with one headlight out. So Bob Temple didn't stand a chance. I was 19. Today I'm 76. Everything he told me has happened. And my life's been like that. I was successful. I worked so hard, and suddenly, like that, I discovered I couldn't read or write. I couldn't function. My doctors abandoned me. My family abandoned me. I wound up in a program called AA after I tried to kill myself. My car stopped 3 feet from the edge. And I saw Bob. And he made it clear to me. I wasn't meant to die. I had to research my disease. That I had a job to do. So, even though I didn't really identify with most of the alcoholics, it brought me to a program called Adult Children of Alcoholics, and that program for me made a lot more sense because I'm allergic to alcohol. I was never a social drinker. I am a social, highly aggressive, type A, type 1, aggressive personality. You can stick me in front of a room with 3,000 people or 50,000, I could care less, stick a mic in my face, and I'm going to give a talk. And I'm going to answer your questions. So, in AA, all I'm hearing is about, well, they were shy, and they couldn't dance, and they couldn't... Are you kidding me? I'd get on the tables and dance sober. Drunk, I'd pass out. So I didn't want to drink anymore, but by then I was severely addicted. But in fact, my addiction was not so much to the alcohol. Sorry, that's the allergies. It's spring. Yeah, this is spring for me, April 29th. I had a nice little blizzard today, and I was okay for one day. But now I'm starting with the allergies, so sorry about that. Oh, my God. I'm living in a constant state of colds. I have to take a bucket of garlic pills just to breathe. Anyway, I'm at a point where I'm losing track of where I'm supposed to go in life. I fought so hard, and I've done everything that I was supposed to do. I've discovered the cause of my disease. It's all on my websites. How to reverse it, how to control it. That took me my entire life. I started to cripple. I was 6 years old, and I'm 76, and I have it under control again. But it can never be cured. It's too late for that. But I am the future. I am the future. Every child will eventually be born like me. Now, I wasn't born genetic with the problem. It came later. But I did meet last year 3 children who were born with my disease genetic. And that's what's happening. We are being born genetic. Oh, there I go again. Oh, well. Oh, my God. Sorry about that. But I'm not paralyzed. A little discomfort, but not paralyzed. Last year, at this time, I was paralyzed. You see, even though I can reverse and control the disease, I can never cure it because the damage is too extensive. And I've put all that on my website. And 200 years from now, everything that's there will work. Because the interesting thing about science is it is what it is. And it really doesn't change. Now, I'm not saying it's going to cure cancer. You can prevent a lot of cancer. You can prevent a lot of disease. And you can certainly prevent mine. But for the last 17 years, I've been very sidetracked in what is my real purpose on this planet. Because I have discovered, just like what happened with Bob, everything was going so well. I had all kinds of support. I was in a beautiful district in Ontario where 1,000 people cared about me and my work, my human rights activities, to get Health Canada to bring in right to know legislation so that every ingredient had to be listed on the label, so that no matter who you are, you could control your what you were eating and control your disease. But in Canada, if you eat Canadian food, you can't. There's no guarantee that what's on the label, and in fact, many of the labels don't have to have anything. You go to any store in any bakery department, they don't have to tell you what's in the product. Loblaws in particular won't even bother. Metro is good. I've called Montreal, the head office, and they might take a couple of days, but they'll get back to me and they'll tell me all the ingredients, even if the law doesn't require it. God bless the French. But friggin' Loblaws, they don't have to tell you, so they won't tell you. But wherever grocery stores are on their own, and management and staff, they do the best they can to help me and people like me. But without the law, we have no rights. Now, these laws have been around in Europe and United States for 40 years, 50 maybe, I don't know how long, 60, forever anyway. They have to put all the ingredients. They don't have to tell you if it's a GMO product, but they have to at least tell you what the ingredient is. And you don't have to do that in Canada. And then from there, I was doing so well, and then I suddenly discovered my mother's in abject poverty. What the hell is going on? She's sitting on properties worth $1.5 million, and she's in abject poverty. Well, that's a whole other story. And I just, when I thought I bailed her out, crash. Something else happens. And I find out that we have absolutely no right to know, as a registered owner, any changes on title to your property. And they're calling this democratic. Well, I was, despite my disease, I was very successful in real estate investments. And all of my clients got rich except one. She was just too confident in her own ego to listen. And she bought a property. It happened to be my listing, and I begged her not to buy it. And she bled money on that sucker. And she never got out until there was an astronomical market boom. And it bailed her out, and she left and went to the East Coast. And some people buy wisely and yet lose their home and investments through no fault of their own. The Ontario government, in many cases, is completely responsible. And in other cases, it's Canada. I mean, can you imagine living in a country where if you're a small farmer and you don't have 188 acres, you don't have the right to register and write off your expenses? Well, you see, that's in Canada, because it's designed to put the small farmer out of business. But we're so fucking apathetic that we just sit back and let it happen. I just hate this bloody country and the apathy and the media. There's no investigative journalism in Canada. All they're doing is copying everything that's in the States. The only reason I got any legal recognition for my disease, Parkinsonism, is because I got the help of the Americans. I was never going to get anywhere in Canada. But because disease is a universal thing, I was able to get a lot of help from Americans. I even got help from Israel and various parts of Europe. Even Prince Charles went public against canola oil, which is the cause of my disease. And it was banned in Europe and the United States until 1994. Now, that's not the only cause of my disease. There's many others, and it's on my website, and I'm not going to go into that. I'm already past my limit, 15 minutes. But I don't know how to get across to you people. The laws in this country are criminal. They're designed for the criminal. And I'm going to leave you with one last true story. You can't imagine, or can you, how good it feels to have survived decades in your first home, outlived your abusive spouse, and I do mean abusive, and now finally you get to retire in luxury, and all that work is finally paid off. Well, not so fast, because secret filing in Canada is legal. That same senior suddenly discovered 18 years after the death of that monster of a husband of hers that she did not even own the matrimonial home. Somewhere along the line, he had in secret severed joint tenancy. And that's considered fair in this country. And the law allowed her son, as the executor of her father, of her husband, to put his name on title to the home and the properties. And that was done in secret. So from there he committed fraud and embezzled the funds, and he didn't pay the taxes, and they wound up so far in debt, and she didn't know about it. And all this time, this woman is spending her life savings renovating and taking care of properties that she didn't even solely own. And the Canadian government and the lawyers all think that's perfectly fair. That's right. So she winds up with nothing. the lawyer says, well, she owns 50% of the property. Guess what? 50% of a property that's in debt is not what she was entitled to. And what about those hundreds and thousands of people who suddenly discover they got a mortgage that's been put there fraudulently, and yet they're being held legally liable? And that's done in secret. Because in this country, you don't have the right to be notified. That's right. Now, you know, in French law, you have to have written notification before there's any change to title. But when we became owned by the British, we went with British law, which is Roman law, which goes back 2,000 years. Now, this is the only country that still maintains that you can sever joint tenancy in secret without your being notified, can put a mortgage on your property without your being notified. The executor can take title to all the properties after you die without the heirs being notified. Or a living spouse who owns the other half of the properties. Yeah, that's called fair in Canada. I don't know. Now, the very nice man in Florida said to me, I have to learn to write differently. I have to learn to find a way to reach the public. I have to find a way to make you care. I have to find a way to make you feel something. I don't know what to tell you, people. This is the most criminal system on the planet. And we're supposed to be a democracy. And I've written to members of Parliament and to all the media, and not one of you is backing me. Well, you get the government you deserve. And I don't care who you vote for. Not one party in Canada, and I've sent them all the evidence over the last 3 years, and I've lost my inheritance fighting this like a damn fool. Yeah, and I'm still at it. Bob said to me that I shouldn't feel like a failure. That while I lived, I will feel like a failure. But the failure is not with me. It's with you. I've given you the evidence. It's all there, and you're not doing a damn thing with it. I keep wanting to stop. I keep wanting to have a life. I'm 76. I don't have much time left. I actually got my body functional. I had a great ski season for the past month and a half. I'm going to start dancing. Of course, with the spring allergies, my dancing isn't going to be like I want it to be. My legs keep giving out, but I'm going anyhow. It's just, what can I say to make you people care? I don't know. I just don't know. I do know this. He told me, Bob said, 200 years from now, millions of children will be grateful to me for the work I have done. I don't want to have to wait 200 years to see democratic rights in Canada. I don't want to wait 20 years. Those democratic rights have been in France and Europe for 300 years, and in the United States. A little less than 100 years in England. We're the only one left. We have no right to know what's in our food. We have no right to know what's going on with our properties. Anybody can steal your home in secret. Now, put every story that's been told to me by other victims on my website. And I've got all the proof and I've got all the evidence in the law. And nobody cares. No member of parliament, no political party, and no Canadian. Had a couple of brokers. Yeah, by the way, that makes Canada a really bad investment if you own property here. Yeah. Beware. You can own it for 50 years and suddenly discover that somebody's taken title. It's not a joke. So, well, the only place where you're completely safe is Saskatchewan. Secret filing is banned in Manitoba and Alberta, but you can still sever without consent. Nobody should be married 61 years and have their spouse sever the joint tenancy on the matrimonial home. No. That should not happen. Not in this day and age. That should not happen. But the lawyers think that's perfectly fine. Your government thinks it's fine. Your politicians think it's fine. And we've got an election coming up and nobody gives a shit. Yourself included. I don't know what it's going to take. It's just so sad. And it's the little people, the really little people who don't have the money to fight. Now, my mother was worth a lot of money, but she didn't have any money left. She spent it all. And it was too late to do anything about it, or I could have gotten rid of my brother. And my mistake was hiring a lawyer. My current new lawyer told me that. He said fighting it in court was totally wrong. I should have taken my $60,000 that Trent Faldine cost me, hired an advertising agency in Toronto, and put out a media blitz through every newspaper and every television station. And for $60,000, that would have been easy. I don't have that kind of money left. But I could have done that. And then the public would have all known about it. Because right now, you know how many followers I have? I've only got about 300 followers. And none of them own, it's somebody else's problem. It's not their problem. I mean, nothing against my followers. The ones that really care don't have property and they don't have the means to do anything about it. They're just little people. See, that's the thing, eh? I got to reach somebody who's got some money, who's willing to stick it in an ad in the media and get this absolute criminal secret filing banned and force Health Canada to give us the right to know what's in our food. We are creating disease all over the world. But at least if you've got everything on the label, well, okay, you're poisoning yourself, but you're doing it by choice. In Canada, it's not by choice. So I don't know, people. I don't know. It just doesn't make me feel okay that in 200 years from now, thanks to the internet, the information will get out there. But by then it's going to be too late. It's not going to help your grandchildren. It's not going to help you. You all think you're omnipotent. You think it can't happen to me. No, it can't happen to me. It can. Life's like that. People turn on you in a heartbeat. Somebody sticks their name, could be a member of your family, could be a total stranger. Steal your property. It's happening every day. And the few that make the media, not one article in the media, and I've researched every one, not one case history that went to court all the way to the Supreme Court, not one ever mentioned that the true cause of what happened to them was secret filing. Not one. I'm a lone voice crying out in the wilderness because we are an intellectual desert, devoid of any sanity. Over and out. It's your country. Do what you want with it. God help me. God help you.